I'm ready. Let's do it. Hello, my name is Thomas Rowntree and today I'm going to be presenting let's try this. Hello, my name is Thomas Rowntree and today I'm going to be presenting let's try this. Hello, my name is Thomas Rowntree and today I'm going to be presenting. This isn't working. Let's try this. No. Hello, my name is Thomas Rowntree. Today I'm going to be presenting. How'd you do this? Okay, ladies and gents, welcome back to a brand new video. So yes, today we're going to be discussing how to present digitally as an architecture student. Obviously, with us all being in the same situation within lockdown, not being able to present at university, obviously normally you'd go into uni, you'd pin up your work up on the wall, you'd present in front of your peers, tutors and kind of external people. But obviously we've had to adjust to working from home, presenting from home, and today we're going to be talking about how you can improve your presentations digitally whilst being at home. And in this video we're going to be talking through 3 different scenarios that you might be presenting in. The first scenario being tutorials with tutors, so more of a kind of informal discussion. The second scenario being interim reviews and kind of studio discussions. And the third scenario is going to be final reviews and job interviews. So scenario number 1, tutorials with tutors. Obviously, as we all know, these are quite kind of informal discussions where you're kind of talking with your tutor through the kind of work you've got at the moment and how far you are down the line with your work and asking for advice and asking questions, etc. And normally you've probably got about 15 to 30 minutes worth of time with your tutor to be able to discuss these things. So the main thing about these tutorials with your tutors is to gather as much feedback as possible and to ask as many questions as possible. So you need to make the most of these 15 to 30 minutes because these calls are very, very important and super crucial to the development and the progress of your projects. Going into these tutorials, you need to prepare a couple things. The first thing being taking photos of your models. I don't think there's anything worse than being on a call, trying to show a model in front of a screen and just being awkward, not really being able to discuss it properly. So I think it's important to take photos of your models. Send them to your computer so you've got them ready, and when you come to talk to your tutor, just share your screen and you can talk through the models a lot more easier that way. You might want to scan in drawings, showing diagrams, sketches, thinking processes. I'd also prepare lots of questions in a notebook to make the most of your time that you have and to make sure you cover as many questions as possible. You might want to screenshot digital models that you've been working on Rhino or Revit or AutoCAD, etc. Or have those digital models already open, ready to show your tutor when you come to present. And I think the most important thing about these calls is to prepare as best as possible to be able to make the most of the 15 to 30 minutes that you might have to ask as many questions and to show as much work as humanly possible. And I think getting all that work and all those drawings and all of those models onto the computer is the easiest and the quickest way to be able to talk through your work with your tutor. Scenario number 2 being interim reviews and studio discussions. Obviously, normally whilst you're at university, halfway through a project, you'd probably have an interim review where you'd pin up your work, present to your peers, tutors and external people to be able to gather information and to gather feedback to kind of head you in the right direction. These reviews are slightly more professional and you usually have to kind of put your work in more of a presentational format for these reviews. I'd begin by organising your drawings and models slightly better by using storyboards to explain your work that you are presenting. I'd clean up your scans and photos to a more presentational format. Maybe try and professionally take some photos of your work to show atmosphere, show kind of scale and those kinds of things. So to put together an interim review presentation, I thought I'd just very briefly show you my interim review pinup from last year in my final year of my BA Honours Architecture degree. So as you can see here, I actually pinned up the work because this was the last few weeks whilst being in studio before we went into lockdown. So as you can see here, my presentation was fairly simple. I literally just wanted to pin up drawings and models up on the wall to very kind of briefly discuss my ideas, my processes, and kind of the thinking behind the development of my project and the direction that I want to go into. So this could very easily be replicated in a digital format by scanning in work, cleaning up the drawings a little bit, professionally taking photos of models, and you could put something like this together in InDesign or Photoshop And it can be a very easy and kind of quick way to put together a presentation, but I think the most important thing is to showcase all of your work and all your process and thinking up to that point. Keep text to a minimum for sure. You want your work to kind of tell the story of your project, and you don't want to have loads and loads of text on a presentation for sure. You'd also normally have a set amount of time, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and you also be presenting to a group of people. Think of a bit of a structure for your speech to be able to cover some bullet points that you want to explain about your work. And I think the most important thing is putting together a presentation that showcases all of the work that you have up to that stage, to be able to gather as much feedback both from your peers, your tutors, external people, to be able to head your work in the right direction. And finally, scenario number 3 being final reviews and job interviews. And obviously these are a little bit more daunting. These are a lot more formal, so you've got to do a lot of preparation for these. I think the most important thing to put together in a final review presentation is the narrative of the project and making sure that all of your work describes the story of your project. And our sponsor of this video can help you with that for sure. Yes, so this video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community to help you guys as creatives to take your work to that next level. Skillshare is a platform that will help you learn, discover, explore, and develop your skills within the creative field. There is a wide range of tutorials and lessons that will help you broaden your horizons. And recently I watched a lesson by Debbie Millman who talks about how you can discover and create a narrative within your projects. As an architecture student, I take value in providing a story and a narrative within my projects. And this is a really key lesson that will help you tell your story of your project through graphic communication. And the first 1,000 people to click that link down below in the description will receive a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. So get involved, ladies and gents. And back to the video. And when it comes to the presentation itself, I think it's really important to dress for the occasion. Put a shirt on, maybe do your hair for once in lockdown, and then find somewhere in your house where you can have a white background or something kind of plain so it looks a little bit more professional. Maybe set up a light or go somewhere where it's a little bit brighter so they can see you a little bit better. Have your notebook with the bullet points ready so that you can kind of run through your speech fairly smoothly and naturally. I think it's fairly straightforward. I think the most important thing is setting up an environment that's going to be as professional as possible. So I think those little details and looking a little bit smarter, having some lighting, having a plain background will just kind of give you that edge within a presentation. Your presentation is going to be a lot more detailed and more refined, and it's going to be in a bit more of a portfolio format. So in putting together a portfolio, there's a lot of things to think about. I could sit here for hours talking about portfolios, but I'm going to keep it very brief. So I think the first thing to think about is scale, whether you want your portfolio to be landscape, portrait. But personally for me, I normally opt for landscape because of the screen dimensions. I think it just works best when you're sharing your screen. It just looks better landscape. I think the most important thing about putting together a portfolio is to structure it so that it runs through your processes in a linear / chronological order. So a structure can be along the lines of something like starting with an intro, going into research, then going to site analysis. You then begin your initial ideas. You can then showcase some sketch models, some development work, some more research to kind of back up that development. You can then go into diagrams, your final design, and then detailing, and then you can go into your final renders. So I think the important thing is to plan out and put together a structure that's going to best tell the story of your project. Your presentation definitely needs to be short and concise. Normally in a final review or an interview, you probably have a maximum of 10 minutes to explain an entire project. So you need to be able to structure your speech a lot better. You need to be concise, you need to be straight to the point, but you also need to be very detailed in your explanations. So personally for me, I'd go through and bullet point kind of your speech. I wouldn't have like a full-on script because I don't think they work personally for me. Obviously you need to find what works best for you guys. But I'd personally write a bullet point kind of list to be able to guide you through your presentations, but also keep it quite natural so it doesn't look like you're reading a script and it's quite kind of jittery and kind of formal. You want to have it as natural as possible. You want to be able to explain your project as best as possible, and it needs to be natural to you because I think that's the most important thing, to be able to come across as natural as possible. I don't know, I just said natural far too many times then. And so yeah, they're my tips for how to present digitally as an architecture student. They are my 3 scenarios. I think they're really important scenarios that I wanted to talk through. It was a faster video today. I wanted to just go through some bullet points that I thought would be useful for you guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. That'd be much, much appreciated. Please subscribe if you haven't yet already, and I'll see you next time. Peace.